watching. Welcome to the Power Up Hero Show. I'm Lisa Wisner. I am going to be your host for today, but I'm super excited because I get to have a co-host. Hey, Megan, how's it going?
It's going so good. I'm so glad to be back after our break. I've been ready and getting myself thinking about what my powers are, what my purpose is, and my passion as a Power Up Hero. And I cannot wait to hear what our guest today has to say about their journey as a Power Up Hero.
Yes, I'm so glad you teed it up with such excitement. I know when we took a break, went on a few vacation trips. I mean, it's been super fun, actually, just trying to enjoy a little bit of the time we've had post. I guess you could say COVID is going away. So we're kind of like going back into re-socialization with the world. I've been enjoying it, I think, Megan, you're one of those people that need the human touch, right?
100%. I guess I kind of always knew this about myself, but COVID made me realize how much I really do love people and love being around them. I'm like, can we just sit here together and say nothing? Like, we don't even have to say anything. Let's just be in each other's presence.
Let's just co-work together, right? Let's just be in each other's face. And I think you and I are probably going to schedule some co-working because we have an amazing opportunity to work together. So I'm so excited about that. But for those of y'all who just joined in, we're here to talk about heroes. And the role of our show today is really about you understanding that you're living a powered up life right now. You're already a hero. But let's face it, living your best life, juggling a busy workload can be close to impossible. And sometimes we like to say, you need to pull some superpowers from who knows where. And so I have Megan on the show today, but I also want to just bring you into the show because I always feel like when we have people watching and they're chiming in the chat and they're putting in the comments what a hero means to them, how they're being heroic today or tomorrow, or whenever you're going to be a hero, we want you to be part of this show. So please make sure in the comments, in the chat, wherever you're watching, chime in, ask questions to our guests because we want you to be the part of the show, as Megan is also part of the show here with us as we're hosting our guests today. So Megan, I wanted to talk a little bit about how heroes aren't created like while we're sleeping, right? I think sometimes we think about heroes and we imagine, wow, I can't believe that person did that. And it's like, yeah, they're probably a hero because of hard times, right? Something was awoken inside of them that made them become who they are, and we're seeing them as heroes. Do you agree?
I 100% agree. I really like how you said that they're not born overnight because I think we suffer a lot from this comparison issue in life, and we go to bed and we're like, tomorrow I'm gonna get up and work out and I'm gonna eat better and I'm gonna be like that girl or that guy, and then tomorrow comes and you're like, oh, why am I still me? But it's the adversity, right? It's that adversity, the perseverance, it's the journey that makes you who your ideal self is going to be. So I really love how you said that.
Yes. And so I guess the message for today is embrace the hard, embrace the suck, as some SEALs like to say sometimes in those books, or learning about Navy SEALs and Marines, really embrace the hard times because that is where your heroic self is revealed. Now, we all have heroes within us, but you have to embrace the hard times because that's where you spur that action and become the hero. You wake up and you start to see that you can overcome and you start to become resilient in the face of adversity. So today the message is for you to be the hero of your own story. But guess what? You have to have a story that requires a hero. So embrace the hard times. Those are your heroic journeys, and those are the opportunities for you to be revealed as the true person you are, as your best version. So Megan, our world needs heroes today more than ever before. So today we're going to be celebrating an amazing member of our community, a celebrated leader, not only by us today, but our entire community has celebrated this person. And for those of you who are fans of the Power Up Hero Show, this show is all about sharing stories about nominated Power Up heroes. So today we're going to be sharing the mission that Ashley Arevalo is on, and we're going to talk a little bit about the life that Ashley has built as being a hero in our community. So Ashley Arevalo is a menstrual equity activist here in Corpus Christi, Texas. Now, Megan, I didn't ask you this at the start of the show, but have you ever met Ashley before?
I secretly follow Ashley on Facebook. I don't think she knows who I am, but I definitely know who she is. And when I first heard about her, it was from you, Lisa. We had just left Toastmasters, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, Megan, have you heard about this amazing girl who's doing amazing things for young girls and women? And she's doing this and that." And then we had this conversation that not a lot of people talk about. And
Yes,
I can't wait to have that conversation here.
you just reminded me of why she came up, right? So I think it was like right in between of one of my speeches, I had a little bit of like a, oh my gosh, you know, some freak out, some menstrual freak out, I can say that, right? And she came to me, right? Literally in my mind, I remember thinking, this is Ashley's work, right? And so Ashley Arevalo, like I said, is a menstrual equity activist right here in Corpus Christi. She got her start in menstrual equity when she started a GoFundMe in November of 2016, and she raised money to donate products to shelters in our community. And since then, she has started her own Period, the Menstrual Movement chapter here in Corpus Christi, Texas, and donated over 70,000 products to the coastal bend. One of her greatest achievements is being a servant to my university, Texas A&M University-Corpus Christi. Shock us up. She actually successfully petitioned to get free menstrual products to the entire population that needs menstrual products at Texas A&M University-Corpus Christi. Absolutely love. Ashley is so connected in our community. And in 2020, she took it a step further, and she's staying busy by starting her own nonprofit. Now she is the president of what she calls the Crimson Cause. And she's actually recently just met with legislators here in Texas, and they're virtually and literally introducing a bill to end the tampon tax in Texas. She has a podcast called the Good Rebel podcast, and in her free time she loves watching horror movies, shopping vintage clothes. I know y'all want to meet this person, so I'm going to bring her to the stage. We have Ashley Arevalo, who we are celebrating as our PowerUp hero of gender equity. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you so much. That was quite the intro. I'm like really energized now. Wow, thank you.
Well, you totally deserve it. I always like to say when we're having our shows, we want you to feel how it feels to be who you are, how we see you. We see you, Ashley. We see you. You're so young. You're so bold. You're so powerful. You do amazing things for our community. When I see you, I smile. And so I'm pretty sure a lot of other people, when they see you, they smile. So thank you for your servant leadership in our community.
Thank you so much. I'm like literally on the verge of tears, and I'm not even on my period right now. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Let's get started with that. I mean, literally, let's get started with talking about period, right? So, you know, when you think about period, sometimes it's one of those words or some of those phrases or topics or conversations that everyone's like, you want to talk about it, right? I know when Megan and I used to work in the same office, I know I've gone into her office like, Megan, I need something to help me right now, right? You give her the look. Megan knows what I mean, you know, and it's kind of like, you don't want to have that conversation. Let's talk about it. Why do we have a hard time talking about the period? Why do we have a hard time talking about, you know, menstrual activity? What's up with that? What do you think, Ashley?
I think it just goes way back to like the dark ages where they believed periods were, I don't know, something that women went through and they were like probably changed into a whole different person. And then now it's like a stigma because I guess people who don't have periods, mostly men, they feel uncomfortable because they don't know much about it. So, and then as women or people who have periods, we're just taught to feel ashamed because it's something that's dirty, or we're only supposed to talk about it with our family, or not even just keep it inside ourselves. And I think it's just that lack of education too. I think we have came a long way, honestly, but there's a lot of work to be done. I think children need to be talking about periods, and it just has to start at that really young level so we can all be just not ashamed of it because it's natural. It creates humans, literally. So it's just a natural process.
It is. And so I like how you said, I like how you even pivoted and said children, right? So right from the very beginning, we're probably conditioned to feel uncomfortable about talking about it. I don't remember in my school ever there being a session where everybody was told, okay, at a certain time, the girls are going to need to go to the bathroom. Yeah. They need to go to the bathroom, you know, do whatever they need to do. And they have purses on now. You know? So I guess, you know, part of my excitement with interviewing you is, you're all about gender equity. So we're celebrating you as the PowerUp hero of gender equity, and specifically as it relates to menstrual equity. So tell us a little bit about that. What does this mean to you? What does gender equity mean to you?
So gender equity, it basically means a fairness among the genders. And I guess we can relate it to what I do. Is not everyone has a period. So people who do have periods, they have to go without a lot of the time. They have to miss school or work because they don't have access to these products because they're not in the restrooms. So what I try to do with my work is to help even the playing field by advocating for menstrual products in restrooms and to eliminate things like the tampon tax, because people who have periods, you have to pay extra on these items that are absolutely essential. So it's not fair. It needs to be even. We need these resources. We can't live without them.
Right. It's not a matter of, it would be a nice to have, it's not a luxury.
It's not a luxury at all.
Right. And so we're going right into this gender equity movement. And so I know you started the gender equity movement when you did that GoFundMe in 2016. And since then, I see you everywhere. Every single event that's going on, there's a table set up where you're collecting donation for menstrual products. And I have a picture to share with you. And so this is kind of like your team of people. You're ending period poverty. I like how you do that. How did you mobilize? How did you even think of starting a GoFundMe? Like, what happened? What spurred you into action?
Yeah, so during that time period, I was just watching a lot of like YouTube makeup tutorials. I think everyone was just trying to learn how to do makeup. So that was me. And just the ad came up from Kotex about how they do like product drives. And I was like, that's a really like interesting idea. And it's something I never thought about. Like, I honestly never thought about what people who are experiencing homelessness do when they don't have menstrual products. It must be so awful. So I thought, this is something I can do on my own. I have some free time. I love social media. So I thought, let me just start a GoFundMe. I'll post it on Facebook. I'll do a little video. And I ended up raising $1,200 in like 12 days or something. It got like 50 shares. It had like thousands of views. And I did it all through social media. And that's why I love social media, because it's so powerful. It's free marketing. And I think a lot of people probably think that social media is like bad, but it's all in how you use it. And I ended up using it for good. So that's really what I did. It was all through Facebook. So.
Wow. Well, I have a surprise for you. I saw an interview that was done of you talking about how you got started. And I think it would be kind of good to paint a good picture of where you started and how you've been going. So if you don't mind, before I actually play the video, I want to celebrate the people who created the video. But I found the video, but I couldn't find any information on who made this video. So could you tell us how, whoever you met, who is this person who made this awesome video about you?
Yeah, so these videos are, I guess, of a series called Observe, and it was started by Eric Alanis and Miguel Diaz. And they highlighted a lot of really great people throughout Corpus Christi. They did one on Ceci Trevino from Chica's Rock, and I was just so honored to be a part of it as well. So yeah, it's a pretty good video.
Awesome. And with that, let's watch the video. We'll be right back.
I'm Ashley Arevalo, and I'm president of Period Corpus Christi. Period Corpus Christi is a part of a national organization called Period, the Menstrual Movement, and we're the only South Texas chapter. And our goal is to provide pads and tampons to anyone who needs them, so we distribute these to local shelters. As of today, we distributed over 10,000 pads and tampons to local shelters. I think I was watching like a YouTube video, and Kotex, they do like a tampon and pad drive, and I thought that was really cool. I just felt like I needed to do something, like when you read all the headlines of, horrible stuff going on in the world, like you feel discouraged, and I just felt like I needed to take action. So I was doing some research, and there's a lot of organizations that do it, and then I saw that Nadia from Period, she was so young and she was doing this, and I was like, oh, I have no excuse, like this girl is like in college, like, and I'm already graduated. So I contacted her, and she was like, oh, you need to start a chapter here. So that's why I started it, because of her. And she's just so personable, like she's easy to talk to. So I felt like it was my duty to do that. Like, everyone that I've talked to about it, they're always like, oh, that's such a good idea. I've never even thought about that, because most women don't, or like most men don't. And I feel like a lot of people are supportive of it because they know, like, if they're a guy, like they have a girlfriend or they grew up with sisters. So it's like easy to like empathize with, especially with women too. Like we all know what it's like. So we're at a Period Corpus Christi packaging party. We try to do these at least once a month, and we get all these donations from our different boxes that we have throughout Corpus Christi and from the fundraising that we do. And Period sends us all these pads and tampons, and we just have to pay for shipping, so that's all we do. And like it works, so like if you're in a shelter, you can just take one, and then this will last you your whole period too, so you don't have to keep going back and, you know, trying to buy stuff or trying to like get more stuff. So these are distributed to the Mother Teresa shelter, the Purple Door, which is now, or which was the women's shelter, and I actually donated some to Brownsville for people that are coming in through the border, so they can have some too, because I feel like if there's like current events that are happening, like we also donated some to people who were affected by Hurricane Harvey, so I try and help out in that way. Like if there's something that's going on, I want to help. Last year my grandma passed away, and my cousin was talking about her at the funeral because they were very close. She had raised her pretty much. And she was just saying how my grandma had to quit going to school because she couldn't afford these products. So, and I didn't even know that about my grandma. Like I didn't know that she had to drop out of school because she couldn't afford these items. So. And I'm sure that was the case for a lot of young women back then, and even to this day. So, yeah, that's the reason why I do it.
Wow. What a story, honestly.
Thank you.
Back the tears, just thinking about your grandma, you know, and I can't imagine how it must have felt. Did you know your grandma's story before you started your movement?
No, that's why I think it was like a case of divine intervention. Like I was already doing this, and then she passed away, and I heard that at her funeral. So I feel like this is like what I'm supposed to be doing with my life.
I love it. Which is why you are now the president of Crimson Cause, right?
Yes.
So tell us about that. How does it feel? You started a nonprofit and you've gone and talked to legislators. You're making moves in Texas. Tell us all about that.
So I've always wanted to start my own nonprofit. I think that's what that's like their end goal when they start, you know, like a chapter of a nationwide organization. I just never thought I could do it at this age or during this time period. So it feels really good. It's like been on my bucket list to start a nonprofit. So we're basically do the same types of things. We donate menstrual products to shelters. We're also we need to donate some for July. I just realized that. We try to do it every month, and we're going to slowly start fundraising. And it feels really good. And then going to the Capitol to testify for the tampon tax, that was another major win. Unfortunately, the bill did die, but I think we made it really far that last time it didn't even get a hearing. So I think we're slowly making the steps to hopefully get rid of the tampon tax in Texas.
Wow. Have you ever heard of the tampon tax, Megan?
No, I hadn't heard about it. This is something that you just really don't even think about. And I'm so glad that Ashley is bringing light to this topic, because I think as females, it's a part of our life, and we go on and we do what we got to do, right? Like we always do. We do what we got to do. We get it done, and it's over until next time. And so I'm so glad that she's kind of making us think about it in a different light. And to all the moms and dads and sons and everybody out there, like I really like how this crowd right now is just telling people to educate their children. Because I think when we're in our own safe circles with our friends and our families and it comes up, people are like, oh, why are you bringing that up? And nobody wants to hear about that, and keep it to yourself. Like, I can even hear my dad already. Like, I don't need to know.
I know. Megan, I live here with all boys. I'm the only girl. The dog is a boy. Yeah. Who wants to talk about what mommy needs, right? And so I have to Amazon my products because that's the fastest way to get it, right? Aside from every time. So I think we have the luxury of having access, but I love how you definitely take it a step further, and you're supportive in our community of helping anybody to have access. We know that there's a difference between equity and equality, right? So I just kind of want to do just a little bit of education there, where it just means that in some sense, you know, we do want gender equality, but when we talk about gender equity, not everybody experiences a menstrual period, right? So it's important to make sure that we have equitable access to resources in our community. And I'm all about education, so I actually have another video that actually explains it even further. And I don't know if you all know who the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation are, but they're super focused in creating health equity, which is tied to menstrual equity. So I want to share a video from them that talks about the difference between equality and equity, because I want us to lean into that, why equity is more important than equality.
These days, we hear a lot of people using the word equity, but what does it really mean? It's not quite the same as equality, which means everybody gets treated the same. Equity is about fairness. It means that everybody gets what they need based on their own situation, because we're not all the same. The difference between equality and equity is important. It's part of the reason the United States spends more on healthcare per person than any other advanced nation and has much poorer health. It's important to remember that a person's health depends on many factors, things like their environment, schools, and workplaces, to name a few. We call these social determinants of health, like clean drinking water for children and easy access to fresh food. We can follow the lead of communities like Columbia Gorge in Washington and Oregon, where businesses, doctors, and farmers tackled the local hunger problem with the Veggie RX voucher program. And the New Jersey Partnership for Healthy Kids is bringing down high rates of obesity in underserved communities. We should be inspired by these local efforts and remember that health equity is all about making things better for all of us. When everyone's healthy, everyone benefits.
Yay! So the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, go and learn more about how to be part of the movement towards more equity in our world. So I think what we wanted to do next was just kind of unpack more about you being a hero in our community. This show is all about being a hero. So I'm going to ask you, we're calling you the PowerUp hero of gender equity. So what do you think a hero means to you, Ashley? What is a hero?
I think a hero is someone who stands up for what is right. I think one of my favorite characters in pop culture, period, is Wonder Woman. So I just love how, she's courageous, she's brave, and I feel like that's someone who I look up to, even though she is fictional. But I think we can all learn from people who are, kind and good, like genuinely good. So I think it's just someone who stands up for others and tries to do what's right, regardless of what society thinks.
Yay, you brought Wonder Woman into this. Oh my gosh. I always say, move over Superman, move over Batman. And then I say Wonder Woman, I say, no, Wonder Woman, you can stay Wonder Woman. We love Wonder Woman. So I love that. I love that a lot. Who's your favorite superhero, if I was to ask?
Mine?
Yeah.
Well, I love all the women. So I love Wonder Woman. I also really love Harley Quinn. As you can see by my hair, I just love her style. But yeah, all the women, that's all who I love. When I read like comic books, it's always the women superheroes. I don't care about the men. I'm sorry.
Because they're such a rarity, right? Like the girls are kind of almost a rarity in comparison to the guys. So when you find a good girl, you're like, yes, you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know that all superheroes have superpowers. So let's ask you now, as the PowerUp hero of gender equity, what do you think your superpower is?
I think definitely my superpower is being empathetic. I've always been very sensitive as a child, and growing up, I feel like I've started to own that. Being an activist, you kind of have to feel empathy towards people to stand in their shoes, even though I've never experienced period poverty. I've been very lucky to not have, but I can understand what it feels like. I've forgotten a pad and I've had to use toilet paper. So I think in order to be a good activist, you have to, feel for others and put yourself in their shoes. So I think empathy is my superpower.
Ooh, I love empathy. Oh, and the whole point is, I think sometimes we talk about people having superpowers, but I always say that empathy is one of those that I wish everybody just had a little dose of empathy in themselves, right? Because it's one of those of where, you know, if you have that, what do we say, Megan, when we're training? Emotional intelligence, right?
Yes.
Being able to see things from somebody else's perspective is so important. And I think that's what makes the world go round, right? I think that's the path to world peace, is people stepping into each other's shoes to see where the struggles are, where the hard times are, and where the support is needed.
Yes, definitely. I think that would solve world peace, like what you said. It's if everyone had empathy, there would be no like global issues in the world. Truly, it may sound cheesy, but I think it's true.
Yeah.
So
and that's
actually, I'm sorry, Lisa, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say she's extending her superpowers to the masses.
Yeah, sending them out into the world. Like we really do need more empathy in the world, and I think that we talked about weaknesses and challenges and adversity at the beginning of the show, Lisa. We kind of introed with that. So this is a perfect question for Ashley. As a PowerUp hero, what would you consider some of your weaknesses or challenges being a hero in relation to your cause, in not relation to your cause, just being a human? Tell us some of what your weaknesses and challenges are and how you overcome them.
I feel like in general, I'm very introverted, which can sometimes be a good thing or a bad thing. But I've kind of had to learn to snap out of it, especially when we're tabling events. I have to talk to people, I have to be friendly. So I have to like switch that on. So that's been something I've had to overcome. And even just like public speaking or doing something like this, it would have been so hard for me to do as like a teenager. So I think just growing up has helped. So yeah, I would think that would have been one of my challenges. Even though I don't consider myself a shy person, I'm just very introverted. So just dealing with that and like what that means in my identity, and yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, actually, what kind of things do you do like before, let's say, a table event or a show like this to kind of help you get out of your shell a little bit? I love fashion. So if I feel like I look good, I will feel good. So like today I did my hair, I did my eyeliner, even though I'm like wearing a t-shirt, but this is comfortable. It makes me feel good. It's soft. I wore earrings. So it's all about, you know, not like your looks, but being presentable, because if I feel good, I will just be a better version of myself. So I think that's what's it for me, like fashion, clothes, beauty. So yeah.
Yeah, and we can lean into that, fashion, beauty, clothes, because that's where I follow you on Instagram. I know you're all about recreating outfits that are inspired by movies, by shows, even by I think some music videos, right? Mm-hmm. I love following you on Instagram because I feel like you're this fashionista, just slaying every single clothing item. So tell us a little bit about how you got started with these recreation of outfits. What got you started with that?
Well, I first started, I was just a style blogger. So I would just post my regular outfits. And then like Halloween came around. I've always been a lover of horror movies. Halloween is my favorite holiday. So I was like, let me just do like themed outfits because that's what I love watching movies. So I did Hellraiser, Evil Dead, and like every year since I think 2015 or something, I've done like Halloween looks, and I'm already thinking about my Halloween looks for this year. So it's something I've planned every year. I try and do it every single year, regardless of what's happening. So yeah, it's just like fun being creative. It's another side I like to tap into with my activism as well. So part of me is like being an activist and then being creative and loving fashion. So yeah.
Yeah. And you're so good at it. I mean, I don't even believe you live in a community. Like I'm like, she's in LA or something, right? Because some of your outfits are so on. It's like perfect. And I know you do vintage shopping, right? So
yes.
You're always visiting the, I guess, Goodwill. You're always visiting the vintage clothing stores to find these outfits. Mm-hmm. So which are your favorite here in our community?
Some of my favorite vintage stores, and there's a lot of really good ones, but I think my top two is like 2020 Vintage. It's downtown, and also Olive Blue Resale. And I moved closer into Corpus, so like I'm like 10 minutes away from Olive Blue, which is kind of like a bad thing, but it's a good thing at the same time. So yeah, I really want to step away from fast fashion because it's really bad for the environment and just the conditions these people are working in. So that's why I try and shop vintage and secondhand as much as possible.
And there you go again. More activism, everybody. now she's gonna be activism for clothing. I love that. I love that. So you're bringing us into another area where we don't think about, right? We don't think about how constantly going to the store, buying new clothes, how it's affecting the environment. That's really important. So if you want to find out more about Ashley and her awesome work of recreating outfits and looks inspired by movies, shows, and music videos, you can visit her on Instagram. And there's her Instagram right there, instagram.com @AshleyAlyssa. Ashley Alyssa on Instagram. So I know one of the other things I uncovered about you is that you started a podcast.
Yes, I did. It's a fairly new thing too, so it's exciting.
Yeah, tell us about that. What do you do on your podcast?
So my podcast is called Good Rebel. I started it in the summer of 2020. And with my podcast, I'm interviewing activists and talking about the issues that they want to raise awareness for. So there's one where I talk to a secondhand fashion blogger, and she's all about sustainable clothing. I've also talked to a person who works at Raisa, so they help with like immigration. So I try and touch on different topics that I necessarily don't know that much about, but I'm also educating myself as well as others.
I love it. It sounds like good trouble, Megan.
Yeah, I know. I'm so
into, right?
it's so awesome. And I really love how you're shining the light on other activists and other causes. Are there any other causes that really interest you? I would say like maybe your second most interested cause.
Yeah, definitely secondhand fashion and shopping vintage. And another one, which I started before menstrual equity, is trying to promote like cruelty-free makeup, because a lot of animals get tested on it. It's really barbaric. So there's a lot of great cruelty-free makeup that's out there. It's at the drugstore. It's inexpensive. So I try and that's all I use on my face. And it's just as good as products that test on animals. So
Thank you so much for bringing that up. Gosh, we definitely need to connect you more with people who are looking for opportunities where they can put their volunteer or community activism energy, because it seems like you have such a great way of connecting your life with what's needed, right? So the energy is almost flowing through you, right? So
yes.
Trying to grab at things, you're going with the flow. So I love that. I love it. So now we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to play a game called Fast 5 Finger Favorites. And we like to have fun by asking you just a few questions about what you like to do and what your favorites are. So for those of you who are watching, we see you watching. We can see how many people are watching. It's a bunch. What are your favorites? So as Ashley is sharing, we want you to share your favorites in the chat. But Ashley, we are going to ask you right now, what is your favorite book or something to read?
Okay, lately I've been reading comics. I love Star Wars. So I've been reading some of the Star Wars comics because I miss the movies that have came out. So yeah, it's just like a different part of the story that they don't touch on in the movie. So I just like the extra aspect of it.
Ooh, comics. That's different. I don't think anybody has ever said that they like to read comics. That's cool. That's really cool. All right, the next one is Fast 5 Finger Favorites. What's your favorite movie?
Without hesitation, Lord of the Rings. They are my favorite movies. I can't pick just one. They're just all great. My favorite of all time.
Yeah.
I love Lord of the Rings.
Really?
I remember the first time I ever watched it, my dad had rented it, and it was a tape. It was still in the times of tapes. I think we might have gone to Blockbuster.
Yes.
And he rented it, and I was like, I want to watch this, Dad. And then I ended up sitting there with him, and I was like, fine, I'll watch it. And then I could not stop, and I was like, when's part 2 coming out? Hurry!
Yeah. I remember I bought it at Walmart when I was a kid, and it was the tape. And I remember all of my family just watching it. And I was like a little kid, and I just loved it. It's just instantly, favorite.
Great. If you haven't watched it, you don't need to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't know if there's anybody except for, I think it's rated PG something. Anyway, I think unless they're not allowed to watch it, I think everybody's probably watched Lord of the Rings. I mean, come on.
I hope. It's one of the best of all time.
Yeah. Like, even if you don't like those type of movies, come on, you got to watch, right?
Yeah.
All right. The next question is, what is your favorite song or something to listen to? What do you like to listen to?
So my top song in Spotify for 2020 was Rain on Me by Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande. So that I can listen to that song all the time. It doesn't get old. I love Lady Gaga so much. She's my favorite. So
I know. Oh, I love that song too. And the video, isn't the video just, oh.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. Have you recreated the video?
No, I want to. I had a friend who did. She did a good job, but
Yeah.
I just feel like I can't touch Lady Gaga. Like, she's in her own world. There's no way I could even aspire to be as great as her. She's amazing.
I know. Oh, she's just making me feel chills. I gotta listen to that song after this. It's a really awesome song. All right. And so the next one is, what is your favorite quote, or what phrases do you like to say?
So I have it pulled up because I don't want to butcher it. This is my favorite quote that I can just apply to especially activism, but pretty much anything. So it goes like, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. It's by Margaret Mead.
Yes, that is a classic quote. And I think that's how you live your life, right?
Yeah, I try to.
Yes. And you're making big moves. I think you just start small and then it seems like everything just ripples out and becomes really big. I remember meeting you when I was starting a co-working space with some of my business partners. And I remember you walking in with your boyfriend and it was like, wow, who is this, right? And you all were kind of taking over the social media sphere of our community. And I absolutely love all the energy you brought and everything that you do. So that quote definitely speaks volumes. I know you talked about being an introvert, so I can definitely see how that quote talks about how just step in, right? Step into this. It's just, you can be small and still do big things, right?
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Love it.
I have to say something. We talk about you being an introvert, but you absolutely like kill it in front of the camera with your pictures. And I'm trying to figure out how in the world, because I just recently got in front of the camera and I was like, what do I do?
Well,
and it was strange, but you do such a good job.
Thank you. Well, it's taken me years. So I started like style blogging in 2014. So it's been a while, but it's something that is learned. Anyone can be good in front of the camera. I was really shy in front of the camera, but it's just something you got to like do. Because like your first photo is probably not going to be good. So just remember that. Once you take more and more, you can look at different poses, look at models, look on, someone on Instagram that you like and just kind of emulate them. That's my best advice.
And do you usually have somebody take them for you or do you take them yourself?
I've done both. I have a tripod that I use that has come in handy for the pandemic because I didn't really go anywhere. But my boyfriend also takes photos of me as well.
Good to know. I'm writing these things down.
Yes. All right. And so for the last Fast 5 favorites question, we always like to ask our guests, how do you power up in the morning? If you had a perfect day, how would you wake up to power up?
That's okay. The morning routine is a little hard for me because I work from home and I haven't really mastered it. I kind of just roll out of bed and put on my robe and log in. That's probably not what I recommend for everyone, but that's something I need to work on. But yeah, I like to shower in the morning. I feel like it resets like my whole like day. So I really like to shower in the morning, get somewhat presentable if I have like a Zoom meeting. But yeah, I don't drink coffee either. I know like coffee is like a big thing for people. So I just try and just wake up naturally. I like to listen to music. So maybe that helps. That's kind of hard for me. Morning routines are not necessarily my thing, honestly.
And you know what? Can I just say that a lot of people on a lot of our guests recently have been the same as you.
Okay, that makes me feel good, I guess.
Yeah. We're all trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And can I say something like as a human, right? So humans, we don't know what goes on internally. Like we're not in there going, yes, our cells need this and we need to breathe more, whatever. Like our body does what it does, right? It's probably rescuing us from diseases we don't even know about. Like it's healing us internally, whatever. So I feel like maybe this lifestyle of just listening to your body, right? Because you probably wake up in the morning and how your body feels, you react to it, right?
That's true. Yeah, and that's probably something I wouldn't have done if I was working a regular job where I had to drive 30 minutes. Like when you're driving 30 minutes, have to wake up super early. You kind of just have to do it. You're not listening to what your body needs. So that's a good thing about remote work. You can kind of just do whatever within reason. So
yeah, I like how you added within reason.
Yeah, I didn't want to get in trouble or anything.
So actually, one of the things we like to talk about here as being Power Up Heroes is we're all about being users of our time wisely, right? So being time smart. So figuring out how to get things done, how to get in, get out, so you can move on with living your best life, right? Doing the things that matter most to you. So do you have any tips or hacks for us on how, as a PowerUp hero, we can live amazing lives?
Yes. So one for me that has been really helpful, especially when the pandemic started. I don't want to say I'm addicted to social media, but when something crazy like this happens, I have to admit I was on Twitter doom scrolling till like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and it wasn't good for me. So I had my boyfriend set up like a lock on my phone. So at 10:30 every day, I don't have access to Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, nothing. So it helps me just wind down. Maybe I can just like watch a movie on my laptop, and that, because social media is great, obviously, but when you take it like as an excess of, especially when there are crazy things going on, it's not good for you. So that has been my saving grace. There has to be a limit to social media, especially at night, or else you can't go to sleep. If you can't sleep, you're not going to wake up rested, and you can't do like your daily tasks. So that is my tip.
Yeah. You can't be presidents of organizations if you're not sleeping, right? I love that. Okay, so do you know what the name of that app is?
It's something on my iPhone. I believe it's like you have to do it with like a kid or children setting, because so I don't have the password.
You have parental settings.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, that's a hack, right? I think sometimes we know what our kryptonites are, right, Megan?
Yes.
You know your kryptonite is eating ice cream late at night. Well, then why are you buying the ice cream in the first place, right? Make sure the fridge has no ice cream, so that's not your, like, that doesn't affect you. So you're doing the good thing. You're making sure that you've locked your phone so you're not on social. I love it. That's a really great hack. Megan, do you have any hacks around that?
I have like this drawer on my desk, and I put my phone inside the drawer. So that's been really helpful. And then one of my friends, Megan Benavides, who's a photographer in Corpus Christi, posted recently about an app where there's like a tree.
Yes,
and if you
that
stay
too.
off of your phone, the tree will grow. But the second you get on your phone, the tree dies.
What?
Yeah.
What's it called?
I think it's called Forest. I use that too. Forest app.
But I'm going to get it because I'm going to try it. I don't really have that much of a problem being on my phone during the day. It's at nighttime where I'm like sitting there for a while looking through my phone. So I allow myself just a little bit of time at night. And then I'm a big time show watcher. So I would rather spend my time watching the shows than being on the phone.
Yeah.
So everybody picks their poison, right?
So Ashley, thank you so much. Ashley's like totally running the show. So backstage, Ashley just dropped the link to the app. Boom, Ashley, we're going to recruit you to be on the show. So there's the link to the app, forestapp.cc, so that you can go and get your forest on, get your gardening on, grow your trees by not being on your phones. So, you know, y'all are talking about it, and I literally have a block of social on my computer. If I get on Facebook, everybody has had a baby or gotten married or gone on an awesome vacation, and an hour later, I'm still looking at pictures and posting and commenting. So I have a block, and I only look at social through this thing called Hootsuite. I don't know if you all know what Hootsuite is, but that's the only place I look at my social, because it doesn't suck you in. So I think we all have these hacks of how we can be productive without being stuck in social. But I love social media, so I'm always on social media. My kryptonite is LinkedIn, so I always have to pull myself out of LinkedIn feeds. LinkedIn feeds are awesome for me, so love it. So we've really asked you a bunch of questions, but I think we want to ask you a future question now. Yes. And so I'm just thinking about it. And I know, Megan, you're really good at asking the future question. Why don't you go ahead?
Well, I only really like asking this question because it's one of the hardest questions for me. And it's usually one that comes up in interviews like all the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, who knows what they're going to be doing forever from now. And because I like to leave it open, right? I will take whatever the world wants to give me. So I have no plans. But imagine yourself 5 to 10 years from now. What do you see for Ashley?
That's a really hard question. for me as well, because I feel like my life path, I never would have thought I would have started a nonprofit. I never thought I would be an activist. So I think just finding things that I enjoy, like I want to just be happy doing something I enjoy. I feel like that's like the main thing, because it's really hard to say like, oh, I want to be working somewhere and I really want to be doing this, because you really don't know. So I at least just want to be somewhere doing something I love, being happy. I do want to obviously still be an activist. So something with that, I think. That's really vague, but I feel like that's the only answer I can come up with.
I don't blame you. I'm the same way. I think that when we make plans, I think sometimes we kind of set ourselves up for like disappointment, because the world has other plans for you, and sometimes they're greater. Like God has greater things than you even imagined. So I'm like, I'm waiting for the greater, and I'm not even gonna like set my low level plans, because knowing me, they'll be so low level and there's something even better. And I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said that you never even saw yourself as being this activist and this person who has their own nonprofit. And here it is, it's happening, and it's greater than what you ever even would have thought of. So I can appreciate that 100%. And we definitely admire everything that you're doing.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Well, continue what you're doing. I really love seeing you in the news, and I love seeing all the amazing work you're doing. I love that you've already made it to bills, right? You're working on bills for Texas, right? So, and I'll tell you what, the track record is the bill never passes the first time, second time, third time, sometimes 7 times. So it may take you that long, but you're on your way. You're definitely going to make strides. And I know we have such great representatives here in our community in terms of legislative work. So, and I know you're connected with them. So you're gonna do amazing work. And even though you said you don't have a plan for yourself, I know you do. You're very sensitive in terms of just not putting it out there for us. So I'm just super excited to see what's coming next with Crimson Cause, with all the work that you're doing with your Good Rebel podcast. Can't wait to hear more about that. And so if people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Well, as far as the nonprofit work, just check out Crimson Cause on Instagram. You can message me, and that's where I post updates with the stuff that we're doing. So
perfect. And then I know we had dropped your personal Instagram earlier. So if you want to go and just have a personal connection with Ashley through her awesome fashion that she does on Instagram, you can see her Instagram feed right there. Ashley, thank you so much for being our PowerUp hero. We really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you so much. It was an honor. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Lisa and Megan.
You're most welcome. And we'll see you next time. I feel like you totally need to come back. So we'll see you next time.
Of course. Thank you.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Well, Megan, I love how the show started. Actually, it was like so educational. It was like we hit it hard from the beginning with education. It was good.
Yeah, and I really liked that video you played about the difference between equity and equality. You always think you kind of know, but then when you have that visual and that storytelling aspect, it really like brings it home, and now you really know the difference. So that video was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking like, Ashley, we need to get invited to a packing party, please.
Yes. You know what? It just seemed like so much fun. I know, obviously, when all we're doing is putting things in bags, right? But it just seems like the coolest place with the coolest people there. I always say if there's a room of people doing activist work, those could be your friends, right? How do you know how successful you're going to be? Who you surround yourself with. So yes, Ashley, we want to be invited to these parties. We want to come and help you pack. So we'll definitely need to stay in touch and start to connect more people with what work Ashley's doing. And can I say something? She talked about interviewing Raices who work close to the border with immigrants who are coming in, and she's beyond our coastal bend community. She's like going into where the needs are, and I think that's really what a hero does. A hero has strength for who needs it, right? Like I'm good. Who needs my strength? I'm gonna give it to you wherever you are. I'm gonna show up. So she's definitely.
What I think is really cool is, now that I'm thinking about it, when all of that was happening in the valley and near the border, and there was people being held, I wanted to do something so bad, but I couldn't think of like, what can I do? What could I do? But now I know somebody who will be like, I'll do it with you, Megan, or I know what we should do. And I can just like partner, and we can like do things as a group, because I think my biggest thing was like, well, what do I do? And so somebody who's already an activist and kind of has like a feel of the ropes will exactly know what to do. So we all need to partner more with Ashley.
Yes, and with a quote of never doubt, like a small group of people can make a difference. That's definitely, I think, where you say the power of one, accountability for just making sure the work is getting done. So we're definitely keeping Ashley close and pulling her into all the awesome things that we want to do here on the show. So Megan, thank you so much for being on the show, and I will see you soon. I know you and I work together now, so it's kind of crazy. I feel like I'm in heaven, actually. So I get to see you pretty much every day. So good times, good times.
Yes, good times. We see each other online in the net.
Yeah. So it's great to see you, Megan. We'll see you next time.
It's great to see you, and it's great to be with everybody, the PowerUp family, and we will see you next time.
Yep, we'll see you next time. And there you have it, everybody. If you want to find out more about the PowerUp hero that we just interviewed, you can go to our podcast page, which is poweruphero.org. Again, the website is poweruphero.org. If you know a role model in our community who deserves to be featured here on the show, you can also visit our website and nominate them. Again, it's www.poweruphero.org. Or are you the hero that we need to interview? Be bold, be strong, nominate yourself. We know that the world wants to hear about how remarkable you are. So go ahead and share with us your story about how you're having a positive attitude towards life and how your community is really being supported and how the hero within has really come out, and you want us to share that with the world. Again, that website is www.poweruphero.org. Wherever you are watching, wherever you're listening, be sure to subscribe. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, LinkedIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud. We're on this really awesome new platform called Verbal, and actually just got recognized as an ambassador of Verbal. So go ahead and get on there. And then I also want to thank Amazon Music for recently featuring the PowerUp Hero podcast on Amazon Music. So you can ask your Alexa or your listening devices to play the PowerUp Hero show. So anywhere and everywhere that you're tuned in, please be sure to subscribe, and we'll be there for you. We hope that you are educated, inspired, and encouraged to be a PowerUp hero, not only for the community that you serve, for the teams that you're blessed to serve with. I get to serve with Megan. Oh my gosh, my life is complete. For your family, for your friends, for your own career, and most importantly, for yourself, because our world needs heroes today more than ever before. I hope you make today a powered up day. We'll see you next time. Bye.